Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you all, our esteemed speakers and participants, depending on where you're joining us from today. Thank you for taking our time to join us for today's Facts Behind the Figures presentation by UPDC PLC. My name is Olutobi Onoji. I work with Nigerian Exchange Limited, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. We're excited that you could take our time to join us for today's webinar, despite your very busy schedule. Before I present an overview of the agenda for today's session, I would like to cover a few housekeeping rules. For our speakers, please remember to keep your microphone muted throughout the session, except if you were invited to make a contribution. For our attendees, we're grateful you're here. We invite your active participation throughout the session. Please use the chat box to share your comments, but also please use the Q&A box to drive questions specifically at UPDC PLC. We look forward to having an engaging session today. The welcome address will be delivered by Divisional Head, Listing Business at NGX, Mr. Olumide Bolumole. His welcome remarks will be followed by remarks from the Managing Director, CEO, UPDC PLC, Mr. Odunwayo Ojo, and subsequently, he will delve into the presentation of the facts behind the figures for UPDC PLC. We would also we'll also hear from Folakemi Fadaonsi, the Chief Financial Officer of UPDC PLC, who will speak specifically to the finances of the organization during the presentation. Please remember to share any questions that you have using the Q&A box, and our team would either attend to them during the session or reserve them for the Q&A session at the end of this presentation. Thank you once again for joining us for this session. And now I will now yield to Mr. Bolumole for his opening remarks. Over to you, Mr. Bolumole.
Thank you, Toby, and good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's Facts Behind the Figures presentation by UAC Property Development Company PLC, the team led by the CEO, Mr. Odunwayo Ojo. On behalf of the board and management of the Nigerian Exchange Limited and the entire capital market community, I commend the management of UPDC PLC for partaking in today's event. As you may know, the Facts Behind the Figures presentation done virtually today provides our listed companies the opportunity to inform the market of their financial performance, as well as other strategic and operational developments. Interestingly, this comes at a time when the COVID-19 pandemic has ushered in a new normal in the way we interact and conduct our affairs. Nonetheless, we look forward to fruitful interactions today, which is vital for transparency, price discovery, and overall performance of your stock. We therefore encourage you to continue with this trend. For over 2 decades, UPDC PLC has grown to become one of Nigeria's leading indigenous real estate companies, engaging in the acquisition, development, sales, and management of high-grade residential and commercial properties. The company has built a long-standing track record within the real estate sector, having completed multiple landmark residential and commercial developments. We are delighted to note the significant milestone UPDC achieved with the successful conclusion of the 16 billion naira rights issue last year, proceeds of which were used to strengthen the capital base and position the company for growth. This achievement is a result of the hard work and resilience displayed by the management team, who over the last 2 years have refined the business strategy and strengthened the company's corporate governance structures. Also, we would like to recognize efforts being made by the board and management of UPDC PLC towards achieving continuity by improving business operations and restoring investor confidence in the company, following Custodian Investment PLC's acquisition of a majority shareholding in the company. At the exchange, we remain committed to helping issuers derive great value from their interaction with the market. By positioning ourselves as the African exchange of choice, we continue to implement policies aimed at strengthening the corporate governance of our listed companies and providing products that are aligned to investors' requirements. Through the NGX Academy, the exchange provides the opportunity for capacity building and training for board members, management, and staff by offering a wide range of courses geared towards bridging the knowledge gap of capital market stakeholders, investors, and the general public. Also, we will continue to support the strategic objectives of our issuers by providing a platform for raising capital. This year, NGX has facilitated needed financing of over 5.3 trillion naira in capital raised by governments and corporates across various asset classes. Our commitment to driving sustainable products and responsible investment remains as we promote a market that is transparent and orderly whilst leveraging cutting-edge technology. We encourage UPDC PLC to continue to strive for sustainability by adhering to the highest standards of disclosures and corporate governance. We also commend the company for participating in this Facts Behind the Figures presentation, as this would help existing and prospective shareholders gain a greater insight into the operations and future growth plans of the company. We thank you, our invited guests, for your presence today and encourage you to participate fully during the interactive session. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to now invite UPDC PLC to make their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Poluwole, for inviting us to present our facts behind the figures for UPDC PLC. And we consider it a privilege to be able to share details on UPDC with the esteemed audience listening to us today from all over the world. So just in terms of a quick agenda for Facts Behind the Figures presentation, I'm going to be going through an overview of UPDC, just to give us a short reminder of what UPDC does and the structure of UPDC as it currently stands. I'll be going through our strategy, especially with regard to how UPDC intends to weather the storm going forward in the market. And then I'll be inviting Mrs. Fadaunsi, who is our Chief Financial Officer, to deliver details on the half-year 2021 financial performance review. And then we'll conclude the Facts Behind the Figures presentation by introducing one of our development projects, just to highlight some of our future plans. So on the next slide, we effectively bring to fore the historical background of UPDC. So UPDC was established in 1997 as part of the property division of the UAC Group, and it became a full subsidiary of the UAC Group in 1997. In 1998, UPDC was listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange as a publicly listed company. And in 2013, UPDC set up the UPDC REIT, which is also listed, and initially held 62% equity stake in UPDC REIT. In 2020, UPDC distributed its stake in UPDC REIT to its shareholders, giving the UPDC shareholders direct stake in UPDC REIT, and UPDC now owns 5% in UPDC REIT as a sponsor. In 2020, the Custodian Investment PLC bought 51% of UPDC from UAC, and thereby making UPDC a subsidiary of Custodian Investment PLC. In terms of our business lines, UPDC operates in three main areas. Our first major area of operation is in the area of property development, where UPDC has over 24 years of experience developing first-class real estate properties across Nigeria, and also continues to explore opportunities in the property development space. The second business area is in the area of facilities management and asset management. UPDC provides property, facility, and asset management to our discerning clients. We have a separate business known as UPDC Facilities Management Limited that carries out this part of the business. We are also continuing to grow our asset management product line and property management product line as well. We currently manage over 30 properties across the country. Our third business area is in our investment in UPDC Hotels Limited. UPDC Hotels Limited is the company that operates the Festival Hotel located in Festac, and it's the second largest hotel with the conferencing facility in Lagos. So just some historical milestones that the company has been able to achieve over the years. Between 1997 and 2000, the company was incorporated, like I said, and carved out of the UAC group. And in 1998, it was listed on the stock exchange. Between 2011 and 2015, UPDC became the first real estate development company in Nigeria to establish a large and well-diversified portfolio of quality assets into a real estate investment trust, which is also listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And the UPDC REIT remains the largest REIT in West Africa, and UPDC is the sponsor. Between from 2002, I skipped that. From 2002, the company invested in the Dopa Hotel, which is now the Festival Hotel. At some point, it was operated by the Golden Tulip franchise, and like I said, it's the second. It has the second largest conferencing facility in Lagos at the moment. Between 2016 and 2019, UPDC incorporated UPDC FM, which is our property management and funds management company. And UPDC also raised a bond in 2018, a 5-year bond, 16% rate, and which was very, very successful. Between 2020 and 2021, UPDC raised additional capital from the shareholders by a rights issue. And in 2020, UPDC was acquired significantly by Custodian Investment Group, making UPDC a subsidiary of the group. Now, going to our recent corporate actions, which has impacted significantly on the performance of the business. I would like to start by explaining the REIT unbundling that happened in 2020. So UPDC completed its unbundling of UPDC's interest in the Real Estate Investment Trust to its shareholders. And the impact of that is that it has helped UPDC focus on its core activities while unlocking additional value for shareholders by granting them direct ownership in the REIT, which has consistently paid dividends from its inception. The next recent corporate action that has happened is the rights issue. So in 2020 as well, UPDC raised a total of approximately 16 billion naira in the rights issue, and the capital raised from that rights issue has strengthened the company's financial position and has enabled the company to reduce its debt obligations from approximately 20.8 billion to about 5.4 billion today. The impact of that is that this continues to strengthen the capital structure of UPDC and effectively puts UPDC poised for being on the path of profitability going forward. The third area is in the area of the custodian acquisition, which I've already described. And the impact of that is that UPDC now operates as a subsidiary of Custodian Investment PLC and as an associate company of UAC. And what this means is that UPDC can also leverage on the goodwill, on the client base, and on the financial capacity of these two companies that has majority stake in the business. The fourth area is in our bond repayment. So in April 2021, UPDC exercised the call option on its bond, and this was financed with the aid of an intercompany loan from the Custodian and the UAC groups. And the impact of this is that UPDC was able to refinance its debt obligations at a significantly lower cost, reducing the rate from about 16% to 9%. And this will lead to a significant reduction in the finance costs going forward. Now, as a result of these recent corporate actions, it has led to the company finding itself in a situation where there is a free float deficiency. The free float deficiency effectively means that the company has not met the 20% free float threshold set by NGX. And in our recent interactions with NGX, plans are currently being made by the company to address this deficiency, and NGX has graciously agreed for the free float deficiency to be resolved within the next 24 months. The company is currently reviewing its options in this area with the aim of resolving the free float deficiency within the next 24 months. One of the key strategic initiatives for UPDC going forward is in the area of human capital. So with the advent of the CIP group coming on board, there's been some key changes to the board composition. Mr. Woliyoshi, who is the founder and the CEO of Custodian Investment PLC, he is now the chairman of UPDC. And I act as an executive director in the company, along with Mrs. Fadamsi, who is also an executive director in the business. We have 4 other non-executive directors in the persons of Mr. Fola Ishimuju, Mrs. Deborah Nicole Omerwa, Mr. Oyekunle Oshileja, and Mr. Adeni Ifalade. These are all seasoned professionals who have excelled in their areas of endeavor over the years. So UPDC has been strengthened, UPDC's board has been strengthened with introduction of new members that have joined in the course of 2021. Also, in terms of the management team, I lead the management team. I joined UPDC in May 2021. I have an extensive background in the real estate industry, having handled several property development, asset management, private equity, and advisory services in the industry over the years. I've held several different roles at different times, including acting as the CEO of Alaro City, Director of Development and Projects at Eagle Hills, Abu Dhabi, Development Director at Alaro Development Partners, Vice President at Ocean and Oil Holdings, and other roles and responsibilities. I have with me several other strong professionals on the management team. And for more details of the profiles of management team, you can go to website at www.updcplc.com. Now, the key reason why our people are important to us is because we strongly believe that no business can succeed without having the right human capital. In terms of our asset mix, we have different composition of assets within the business, ranging from our investment in UPDC Hotels Limited that constitute 37% of the asset pool. We have inventories, receivables, other assets, investment properties, cash and cash equivalents that make up the asset base of UPDC at the moment. In terms of our strategic initiatives, UPDC, in line with its strategic initiatives, have looked at areas in which we can achieve significant growth from now into the future. One of the key areas is to bring back UPDC's area of property development. UPDC over the years has been the key market leader in this area, and with the support of our shareholders, UPDC is currently exploring opportunities to develop, own, and manage high-yielding real estate assets. Our extensive investments in the right real estate talent over the years will ensure that we are able to deliver these new developments efficiently and effectively. Another strategic area where the company is currently going to focus now and into the future is in the managing of our real estate assets in terms of our development management and real estate advisory business. This we hope to provide standalone services to third-party clients who are interested in developing their real estate assets as well. Another key strategic initiative is the disposal of low-yielding investment properties and our existing inventory. So over the years, UPDC has realigned its investment portfolio, and with the decision to dispose of low-yielding projects and generate the highly required liquidity for more profitable real estate opportunities going into the future. The fourth area of our strategic initiatives is in the sale of the UPDC Hotels Limited. UPDC Hotel Limited owns the Festival Hotel, which is a 471-room hotel. And as part of the company's drive to focus on our core strengths, we have placed UPDC Hotels Limited as a company that has been held for sale. Marketing efforts are currently being put in place to ensure this objective is achieved as soon as possible. And finally, another area of strategic initiative being considered is in growing our asset management business line. So we are currently acting, and we intend to grow our asset management reach by leveraging on our in-house expertise, having done this for so many years, and in order to provide best-in-class asset management services and ensure maximum value and return on investment is derived for our own properties and for our clients' properties as well. So these are the key strategic initiatives that we are currently working on with the aim of bringing back UPDC to the path of profitability going into the future. And now I'm going to yield to Mrs. Fadahunsi, our CFO, who is going to go into the financial review. Thank you.
Thank you, Odunayo. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, NGX, for having us this afternoon. Like Odunayo mentioned, I'll quickly give an overview of our financial performance as at half year 2021. At the end of June 2021, year-to-date revenue was 316 million, compared with 346 million at the end of June 2020. This shows a 9% decline in revenue as a result of the business environment and also the impact of the business environment on purchasing power of customers. However, as Odunayo has outlined in his presentation, we have a pipeline of new projects that we're working on, and we intend to grow this revenue line aggressively over the next couple of months. Our operating loss at the end of half year was 89 million naira, compared with 221 million at the end of 2020. We have been working also very hard on ensuring that we have a cost optimization strategy while we manage our costs effectively. And also one of the things that has also contributed to the reduction in the losses is the fact that we've been able to sell some of our investment property, at a profit. Our finance income at the end of the period was 17.8 million naira. This is because we have been laser focused on treasury management, managing our cash effectively, and ensuring that we're able to keep the company liquid and investing as appropriate. Our finance cost at the end of the period also reduced significantly. We called our bond in April 2021, and that led to a reduction in our interest rate from an average of 16% to 9%, starting from the end of April 2021. As a result of this, our finance cost reduced by 58% as at half year compared with half year 2020. Loss after tax at the end of the period also reduced significantly from 2.9 billion in 2020 to 603 million at half year 2021. As mentioned earlier, we unbundled our REIT in 2020 at the end of 2020, and we also made provisions to pay some guarantee on an obligation that we had in 2020, and those were some of the things that contributed to the high loss at the end of half year 2020. Whereas in 2021, as a result of calling the bond and also working effectively on managing our cost, we reduced this loss position to 603 million. However, our goal, as always, is to ensure that we are able to create value for our shareholders by putting the company on the path to profitability as quickly as possible. In terms of our asset base, Odunayo has spoken about it earlier, but I'll just point out that the reduction in our total assets was mainly as a result of the fact that we unbundled the REIT last year, and so our total assets reduced from 27 billion in June last year to 22 billion in June 2021. Also, our total equity, it's the same impact of the unbundling that you can see on our total equity line from 14.8 billion in 2020 to 9 billion in 2021. However, it's interesting to note that as at today, our market price is 1.83 naira, and it's showing, all the efforts that has been put into capital restructuring and in putting the company on the path to profitability is yielding results, or they are yielding results. So that's, in a nutshell, is an overview of our financial position. I have, as much as possible, explained the areas where there has been a decline, and also pointed out areas where there have been significant improvements, most especially in terms of other income, because of profits from sale of investment property and reduction in net finance costs, reduction in loss for the year. I know that a number of people in the audience may have questions, and I'll be happy to take questions relating to the financial position of the company right after this presentation. Okay, in terms of interest-bearing liabilities, so as much as we have called the bond, what we have done basically is to swap the existing interest-bearing liabilities at the end of June 2020 for another type of interest-bearing liability at a reduced interest rate of 9%. What we effectively did was to take shareholder loan to pay up existing bond and bridge facility. Thereby, so as a result of this, our interest-bearing liabilities in total, the principal has not significantly reduced. However, our finance cost has reduced significantly. Okay. So this, in a nutshell, is an overview of our financial performance at the end of June 2021. And I'll let Odunayo speak very quickly to our future plans. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Folakemi, for that financial highlight. And just to conclude this presentation, I would just like to highlight one of the areas which we strongly believe is going to create value for the business going into the future, which is in the area of development. One of the key areas, cornerstones of the new initiatives at UPDC is to invest in middle-income housing. And so the company is currently in the process of launching multiple projects in the middle-income space of the market, where we believe there's a lot of demand and where we believe there's sustainable demand. One of the projects that we are actually currently about to introduce into the market is the project that we have dubbed Project Alpha. It's approximately 14,700 square meters of land in the Lekki area, and we intend to roll out a site and service scheme of a pilot 22 plots of an average 500 square meters per plot. The land has very good title, and we intend to commence the project before the end of this year and deliver it within a period of 12 months. By Q4 2022, the site and service scheme should have been completed, and we should begin to see the impact of projects such as this and many more that we are actually planning on the financial position of the business. Just to give a little bit of context into some of the features of the products, with Project Alpha in particular, we'll be looking at a combination of high density and low density plots, and we are going to be providing world-class infrastructure, including secured access, facilities management office, adequate parking, very good well-paved roads, well-landscaped roads and environment, street lighting, water, power, sewage treatment, good drainage, and recreational facilities as well. In addition to this, UPDC, in order to drive value for our numerous clients, would also be extending our facilities management and development control services as complementary services to these developments to retain and improve value for our customers. So this, in a nutshell, is our presentation. For more information, please feel free to drop either myself an email on oojo@updcplc.com or Mrs. Fadahunsi at fadahunsi@updcplc.com or our investment associate at mafolabi@updcplc.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Odunayo. Thank you very much, Folakemi, for the very detailed presentation. To our attendees, we have just heard the facts behind the figures presentation for UPDC as delivered by Mr. Odunayo Ojo, the Managing Director, CEO, and Folakemi Fadahunsi, the Chief Financial Officer of UPDC. Thank you both for your presentations. Without further ado, we'll proceed to the Q&A session. But as we do proceed to this Q&A session, I would encourage our participants to please share their questions in the Q&A box so that we can address them accordingly. The questions have been pouring in. We have questions addressing different aspects of the presentation, from some from the hotel, some from the financial activities or financial performance of UPDC. I suppose we start with the questions around the financial performance. So I'll take a question which we received from an analyst prior to the session. The question goes, it's a loaded question. It says, what is the company's current business plan and strategy to start generating cash flows, as well as distributions to shareholders? Second aspect of this question is, what is also the plan to realign its business model to adapt to the post-COVID-19 property market? Over to you, Odunayo.
All right, thank you very much for that question. So to answer the first question as to the plan for generating revenues and cash for the business going forward, during the presentation, I highlighted some areas which would help in that regard. One of it is in our bid to deepen our property development side of the business by focusing on middle income housing, which is where we see a lot of demand, sustainable demand, and where we also see effective demand. So that's one area. Another area is in the area of deepening our advisory services. UPDC has a wealth of experience delivering world-class advisory services, from facilities management to asset management to property management to development management. So all these initiatives are going to ensure that we grow revenues into the business going forward. In terms of the next question around, I believe is around the pandemic.
Yes, around the pandemic.
And how the business has been able to weather the storm. So as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic is still with us. And even before the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, UPDC has been investing extensively in IT infrastructure because we've always known for a very long time that the future of business, in effect, has to be IT-led and IT-driven. So we were already prepared to take all our operations virtual. So now and into the foreseeable future, we are able to meet any kind of business obligation and any kind of business continuity plan by ensuring that whether people can come into the office or can stay at home, they can still actively deliver their objectives. In addition to that, we've looked at other areas in which technology can drive different parts of our business, starting with our ability to showcase our properties to our clients without them being able to physically go there. So we've used virtual tours. If you go to so many of our platforms, you will see that you can view our properties without having to travel or go anywhere. You can do virtual tours. We have used technology to bridge that gap and to ensure that COVID-19 or no COVID-19 business continues. Also, in the area of communication and in the area of interaction with our clients, we have adopted an active use of social media and other non-traditional channels to reach our customers all over the world, from customers in the diaspora to customers in Nigeria. Wherever you might be, you can interact with us, you can reach us, you can view our properties, you can see what exactly we are offering. We've adopted several initiatives in the PropTech side of the industry, where there are several apps for project management, for property management, where you can get all your invoices on your phone. You can send your request to us on your phone. We have several apps that have been deployed. And so in a nutshell, UPDC is currently invested and is still investing in such platforms that would ensure that, in this post-COVID world of ours, our business continues to grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very detailed response. We had some questions regarding how UPDC is addressing technology. I wouldn't bother reading that question out anymore because I believe your response has addressed that aspect of the question as well. I'll go to the next question. And this is from Mr. Oluseyi Ojo. This happens to address the free float deficiency that you mentioned, and also Custodian Investment PLC's stakes in UPDC. So a summary of the question is this: how does the company intend to address the share float deficiency within the next 2 years? He also wants Mr. Odunayo Ojo, to shed more light on UPDC's, Custodian Investment PLC's ownership and its stakes and plans for the stakes in the future.
Thank you very much for that question. So I believe the first one has to do with
the free float
deficiency. So as mentioned during the presentation, UPDC is currently exploring different options for addressing the free float deficiency. And we have several options open to us, including floating more shares in the business, or our significant shareholders selling part of their shares, and other several different ways in which this deficiency can be addressed. It's a commitment that we have made, and we are very positive that within the 24-month window, this issue will be addressed, and we'll come back to the market with more information as to exactly how this will be addressed. Folakemi, I don't know if you have any further details that you want to share on that before I address the next question. Okay, so the next question talks about Custodian Investment PLC and the nature of their investment in UPDC. So Custodian Investment PLC is one of the leading investment houses in the country. The company has a diversified route in different investment vehicles. So from insurance, which has always been the company's core, to pensions. So the company is also heavily invested in a PFA known as Crusader Sterling PFA. The company has a trustee company. It has a general insurance, a life insurance business. So it's very diversified. And the nature of Custodian Investment PLC's investment in UPDC is that the company acquired 51% shares in UPDC in 2020. And as a result, UPDC has now effectively become a subsidiary of the Custodian Investment PLC and has access to the wide range of services, clientele, and businesses open to the Custodian Investment Group in general. So that's the involvement of Custodian in UPDC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope that addresses your question, Oluseyi Ojo. I'll take a question, more like a combination of questions. This will quite be loaded, but they will focus on the same theme, which is around profitability. So the first question is from Chukwudi Ogbogu. Apologies if I didn't pronounce that appropriately. He asks, when do you foresee a return to profitability in terms of time? That question kind of relates with another question that we received from analysts that asked, kindly provide a rationale for the declining revenues. And also on the back of that question, another question goes, what is the company's outlook on near-term profitability, considering the recent rise in building materials such as cement? quite a mouthful. I'm happy to take the questions again if you would like me to.
All right, thank you for that. I think I got most of it. So I will answer some of it, and I will also let my CFO give some context. So please highlight if I miss out any part of the questions. The first one talks about the timing of profitability. When does UPDC expect to, or when does management feel that UPDC will come back to the part of profitability? The next one is to provide the reasons for declining revenues, and the third one is the outlook for the company. Is that
yes,
more or less?
Yes, that's a good summary of the questions. Yes.
Of the questions. All right. So I will address the one on profitability. I will allow Mrs. Fadaonsi address the issue of declining revenues, and then I will address the outlook. So on profitability, as we have said, the company's main objective over the last 12 to 18 months has been to stabilize the business and to effectively reduce its burden, especially interest-bearing burdens, and to restructure the capital base of the company, which I believe has been successfully achieved significantly. But we are not out of the woods yet. This is a marathon and not a sprint. The important thing is that the company is on this path to profitability, and we will continue to see progressive progress being made. We'll continue to see an improvement in the financials and an improvement in the performance of the business, with the hope and with the plan to return to profitability as quickly as possible. And you can see from our financials that the fundamentals are improving. We've significantly reduced our debt. We've significantly reduced our interest-bearing debt. We've significantly improved on our profitability of our disposal of investment properties. And now, with the advent of the new initiatives that we're bringing to the market, we strongly believe that in the not too far future, our esteemed shareholders who have stuck with us for so long will begin to see the fruit of this restructuring, and we will continue to feed back the plans that we have transparently to the market as and when this information becomes available. So I would yield to Ms. Fadaonsi to answer the second question, which is why there's been a decline in revenues.
Thank you. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, a lot has happened over the last 18 months, especially in the business environment, and this has impacted on consumers' purchasing power. However, interestingly, we still continue to sell our properties. But in line with International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS 15, revenues can only be recognized at a certain point, which usually ties in with when the customer has fully paid for the property they are buying and the risk and rewards are fully passed. So it is not so much a function of not selling at all. It's a function of, have we met the accounting standards to actually recognize some of these monies as revenue? So yes, there is a part where the business environment has impacted on consumers' purchasing power over the last couple of months, but UPDC continues to sell property. And with the new developments that we're going into in the next couple of months, we're also bringing products that we believe the market is going to love. And what we should see going forward is our revenue position improving, as we go into the next couple of years. Thank you. I hope I have addressed your question. And then, just to add also to what Odunayo said with respect to profitability, I think you'll agree with me that if we've moved from a loss position of 2.9 billion to 603 million at the end of June. We're on our way, and we want to use this opportunity to thank all our esteemed shareholders for staying by us, and please keep your fingers crossed. We believe we're on our way to profitability.
Thank you very much, Folakemi. Thank you, Odunayo, once again. I'll take a few questions together as well. But while we have Folakemi, the first question perhaps will be directed at you. It says, what do you mean by low-yielding investments? On the back of that, and these questions are from Lanre Jayola. He's asked, or she has asked, is UPDC redefining its focus? If so, what are your new targets? Perhaps that will be directed at Odunayo. On the back of that second question, we have quite a few questions around the direction that UPDC is going. So we have a question from, let's see, from Kalu Ukuha Kalu, who says, is UPDC ready to move to other parts of the country apart from Lagos in real estate business? Another gentleman has asked, Wale Adewumi, says, well done for the great turnaround. Is UPDC open to partnerships in hostel developments for universities? So all these questions are around, perhaps a new direction that UPDC may be taking. Looking forward to your response.
Okay, thank you for those questions. I will allow Folakemi again address the issue of low yielding investments, and then I'll take the rest. Folakemi.
Thanks, Odunayo. Okay, so when we say low yielding assets or low yielding investments, we're actually referring to investment properties that have not yielded as much as we want them to over the last couple of months. So our investment properties, we have two categories of properties we're currently selling. We classify some as property stock, which is basically our inventory, the assets that we built specifically for the purpose of selling. And then our investment properties are the ones we built for the purpose of getting rental income. Now, when the rental income is not as high as we believe it should be based on what is happening within the market, then it is low yielding. And as such, we took a decision that for such low yielding investment properties, we will sell them to unlock cash. And then, of course, we can then reinvest the funds in more property stock that we can sell in the market. So that's just the logic in a nutshell, to unlock funds from low yielding investment properties and put them in properties that are better yielding. I hope that addresses your question.
I believe it does. Over to you, Odunayo.
All right, thank you for that, Folakemi. So the next question talks about what's the new focus for the company. So the new focus for the company is, in effect, to deliver products that the market wants. The real estate market is very fragmented. There are so many players. You can either play in the high end, luxury end, middle income end, affordable housing end. There's a whole spectrum of where developers can play. UPDC has decided that in the near term, in the short to the near term, we're going to focus on middle income housing. And the main reason for that is because Nigeria has a growing population. There will continue to be a need for housing, and there's a significant drive in that segment of the market to acquire properties. There's several millions of housing deficit in the country, depending on who you quote, from 17 million to 20 million. I mean, we see all the numbers being published. The truth is that this is where there's a lot of demand, and we are working with financial institutions to find ways in which there can be matching retail financing, mortgages, and so on to ensure that this product continues to do well now and into the future. We are also very flexible in the way in which we introduce our projects into the market. We are here to support our clients And we give people things like payment plans, we give people things like flexible plans and so on. So we see a lot of growth in that part of business. And as showcased, we already have projects currently that we're introducing to the market. And it's an area where we want to put a lot of our effort into going to the future. And another area, like I said, is in the area of advisory work. There is a dearth of solid real estate advisory service in the market, and both for institutional investors and for individuals, we see that area as an area in which UPDC can add a lot of value to the businesses of our clients. So the next question is whether UPDC is ready to move to other parts of the country. As we speak, we are actually present in several cities in the country. We have projects in Ibadan, we have projects in Asaba, we have projects in Port Harcourt, we have projects in Abuja, we have projects in Calabar. UPDC already has a national footprint. So as we speak, we are already in those markets. And on a case-by-case basis, subject to the details of each project, we will explore opportunities nationwide. The next question is around whether UPDC is ready to partner in hostel development. Also, we are project agnostic. If it makes sense, if it will bring our much needed profitability to our shareholders, we'll look at it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We're running very, very short of time, but the final questions that I would like to ask, perhaps if you can respond in 1 minute. We have quite a number of questions around the hotel. One question is asking whether you are proposing, offering the hotel for sales to foreign investors. Other questions are asking what the current stake in the hotel is. If you are able to provide a little more intel insights into the hotel and the plans for the hotel going forward, and then we'll end it there.
Thank you very much for that question. It's a very good question. So the first part of it is, are we opening the sale up to international investors? The short answer is yes. We are opening the hotel up to any category of investor who can add value to the transaction. So we are currently talking to international investors, we are currently talking to local investors, and the answer is yes. The next question is to talk about the UPDC's current stake in the hotel. UPDC has approximately 95% holding in UHL, and so that's roughly our holding in the hotel. And what's our plan? What's our future plan for the hotel? Again, as has been said by myself and Folakemi, the hotel has been categorized as a business that has been put for sale. So we see this hotel being sold in the near term and not being part of UPDC's business going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you for attending and for your questions. We've come to the end of this session. We will do our best between NGX and UPDC to respond to all questions. The video for this session will be made available on NGX's our YouTube channel, so you're free to catch up on this session anytime after today. I will yield to Mr. Olumide Bolumole now to give us the closing remarks. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Toby. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think we can all agree that the team at UPDC has done good justice to the questions and have been very thorough in the presentation that they gave. If I can just take the opportunity of these closing remarks to address one or two questions. I noticed that one or two people had questions around how one could participate in the market. The exchange has a number of trading license holders who have the right to provide a platform to trade trade on behalf of clients. Feel free to contact the contact center at the exchange, and we can send you to a list of trading license holders. And in terms of additional information and the presentation, it will be made available. So thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for participating today. I hope you found the session quite informative. UPDC was able to talk through some of the capital structure changes and capital formation events that they've done in the last year, and we're able to connect that with their plans and their aspirations over the years to come. Indeed, they also mentioned opportunities that they are investing in and developing, most especially areas, development projects within middle income housing. So I really wanted to commend them for taking the time to talk us through their strategy, medium and long term. And thank you all for listening. And I wish you all continued safety and security. Have a pleasant weekend. This event is now ended. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.